The next two books I got are by Giuliana Emerson. This is Fantasy Kingdom and this is Dragon's Kingdom. And Fantasy Kingdom has been on my wish list since quite a while, but I could never bother to actually get it. It was one of those, books that you look at and think you want it, and then, there's always something else. They're both Great Space, so printed by Amazon, which is also a reason why I didn't get them for the longest time. I think they're part of a series without knowing whether there are more in the series or not. So let's just do a flip through Fantasy Kingdom. I think I actually saw this on Momimo's Misa's channel, and this just has some pretty fantasy art. I love this one with the noble woman, noble lady feeding the birds. Oh, this is also so pretty with the little dragon here. Has a bit of an anime style face. Oh, this is gorgeous in the winter. Lots of pretty girls, as you can tell. An tiny castle. Little fairy, angel, owls. And I really like how she does hair, just flowing everywhere. Oh, and the mermaid. Just really imaginative. Oh, I love this. Tiny little dragon. So sweet. So yeah, this is Amazon paper, which is, as I said, a reason why I didn't get this for the longest time. Oh, with a kitty. But I saw this one, which is, I think, her newest book on either Colored by Caroline's channel or on CB's channel. I'm not sure because it's quite a while. I'm sorry, you two. Either one of you enabled me for this book. And then I just had to get both. Because obviously this is dragons, I couldn't resist. You know how that goes. Yeah, as you can see, she has a lot of other books, but those didn't appeal to me. But, I mean, just look at those. Isn't this precious? Oh, so sweet. The tiny dragons. I love the tiny dragons best, I think, because they're so cute. The border around is a bit distracting. I usually like it when images have a border, but I think it's too much movement, so it detracts a bit from the picture, but nonetheless, super pretty. I think if you just colored it golden without much shading or anything, then it would just frame. Oh, isn't this so sweet? The girl with the little dragon. Another little dragon. As I said, I love the little dragons the best. They're so cute. All of them are so cute. Oh. And the prince is riding on a dragon. Mermaids and dragons. Super big dragon and a princess. Or is it a very tiny castle? Yeah, Dragon's Kingdom by Giuliana Emerson and Fantasy Kingdom by Giuliana Emerson. Can really recommend those if you don't mind the Amazon paper. Then, to keep the theme with the dragons, this is Dragons Above Crocker by Barbara Sobczynska. It's not a new book. I've seen this a couple of times, especially when it released, and I was a bit so-so about it. But she's one of those artists where I fear that the book's gonna sell out, like it happened with her cat book, which I really want to have but can't get because it's out of print. So I got a like a coupon, so I really had to get it in the end. So this is one-sided, and there's always a little, fun story about the picture that is shown here, and there's always somewhere a little dragon in here. This is actually, I think, more of an art book. I mean, of course you can color it, and I think it's also, it is a coloring book, but if you don't color in those pictures, they're still very, very pretty to look at. So it could just be a picture book too. And again, I just love how the dragons sneak into all the pictures very sneakily. Well, like in this one, yeah, and the soap bubbles. Or here, it's just an eyeing around the corner. Sometimes it's even a bit of a search picture, and I think it's so sweet. The way it is done. Very, very, just a bit, silly fun. Here it's riding the carriage, driving the carriage even. Nesting in the tree. You know how it is, just everyday life with dragons in the city. And here you can't even overlook it a bit, and it's here, the little dragon with the girl. Oh, here, buried in not a blanket, like a wall hanging. Where is it here? Oh, here. Here. Yeah, it doesn't. A dragon taking a selfie picture. Yeah, well, all in good fun. As you can see, it's super sweet. Yeah, that was it. Don't think that was the last dragon book I got. I finally got Dreams of Dragons and Dragonkin by Raven Phelan, I think. It says that it's spelled Raven, I wouldn't know otherwise. And this is the publisher that also publishes the Jasmine Beckett Griffiths books, which is, I think it's the same paper and the same format. So if you have one of those, you know how this looks. And it's the same style in that it's line art from her original paintings. I think the line art is made by her daughter, and it always has some complimentary text explaining from when the actual painting is, how big it was, and what it was made with. I think you can also see some of her original art on their homepage if you need some color inspiration. And these are, dragonkin, dragon-like creatures. These are more, the serious dragons, after we saw the bit more silly ones. But this, she has some very imaginative crossings between dragon and other creatures. And also some humans. And I love that it's just a little blurb from the artist saying something to the picture, what she thought about, what it represents for her. It doesn't mean that it needs to mean the same for you, but I love having some inspiration of what is behind a picture. And I really like those smaller ones for if you want to have a smaller project, because these are very big and very intricate. Oh, I love this one with the tiny one. And he's so sweet too, little magpie. And also cat-like, even though we all know that cats are tiny dragons in disguise. All dragons are cats in disguise, depending on how you look at it. So yeah, very varied pictures of dragons. I wanted to get the Anne Stokes coloring book, but it's not easy to get for me, and so I decided to rather get this one instead. Then I got another Amazon printed book. This is Broken Circles by Tabitha Barnett. The first book, I think she has at least 3 Broken Circle books out. And it's one of those, again, that was on my wish list for ages, but the price was always a bit too high for me for an Amazon printed book. And then it went on sale, and I had to grab this. It's pretty thick, which is because it's 27 illustrations, but all are repeated and on a black background, which I like very, very much. You can also, I think, get her pictures as PDF on her Etsy store, but I'd rather not print something out that had a black background, so I'm very happy for these variations, because I like the black background a lot, because it makes the pictures pop. And as you can see, the shtick is that they're all round and have these breaks in the circle, which I think makes for a very, very nice compilation of the picture. This is the arc, and they're just very sweet, all of them. And I said this is the first of, I think, 3 in this style, and if the others go on sale, then I'll grab them too, because I think they're sweet. Again, something quick, maybe even with markers, because again, it's Amazon printed paper, and this is the ones on the white. These are the same images. If it seems like it's not, it's just because I've skipped over some. Yeah, it's also very, varying styles. Something for everyone, I think. Or Alice in Wonderland one. Then this is actually not a coloring book, but instruction book for colored pencils. This was enabled by Levelia at Levelia's Coloring. It's Love Colored Pencils by Vivian Wong, and it just explains how to color certain things with colored pencil. And she this book isn't aimed at colorists, but at artists of all kind that work with colored pencils. But what does it matter whether it has black outlines? You always color it the same way, right? And so she gives instructions with the pencils, and I think she uses Faber-Castell polychromos. Let me check. No, it doesn't look like polychromos. I actually think those are the Albrecht Dürers by Faber-Castell, which is weird, because those are aquarelle pencils, but they are hexagonal, whereas the polychromos are round. Doesn't she have a chapter about tools? Yeah, it's a bit weird. I think it's the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürers. At least they were used in the pictures for the photographs. I don't know whether she actually used them to color this. I would think so. You can see it has all kinds of chapters, animals, hair, in different ways. So lots of space to try it out yourself. Skin, lips, and then it has this. In the first part, it's basically just a bit of color theory. I really like this. I like her way to color, and I need to practice a bit more with this. Then I finally got Mermaids in Paradise by Denise Klatt. this is a book. It's a bit of an acquired taste, I think. Her first book was The Fairies in Dreamland, I think, and her fairies are so, you know, they're just stick straight and thin, and I didn't like the illustrations. But the mermaids have bit better proportions, and I just, you know, I've seen so many wonderful illustrations, and especially, you know, those extremely colorful ones. I love her birds, and I love what people, you know, how people color these. They're so colorful, and I got this book because I just, you know, felt like I wanted to have a lot of color, like this one, for example. You know, I love her birds. They're just so sweet, and the illustrations all are in good fun. Her books, the paper is wonderful, and they're really thick, but they're also pretty expensive. So The Fairies in Dreamland is still on my wish list, and I think this went on sale, so I got it, and I'm really happy I did. It's so sweet, and I'm just itching to try out watercolor in this and just make this super colorful. As you can see, they're super, you know, more easy ones where it's just a mermaid with nothing around her, or more intricate, like this one with the birds. Yeah, I'm sure you know this book. Oh, Little Piggy. It has been around, and she has a third book out, The Gnomes in the Neighborhood, but Gnomes isn't my thing so much. But the papers, Pirate Mermaid, really good quality. Which makes the book really thick too, as you can see. Yeah, Mermaids in Paradise by Denise Klett. The last on my stack for now are the three books by Anne Kroenheimer I talked about when I showed you her princess coloring book a while ago. This is the one, the German edition, and it's by Anne Kroenheimer, and I really love this, so I had to get all of her other books, of which there were back then almost no flip-throughs. I think Misa from Momimo has shown at least this one, and if I ever find the time, I will do flip-throughs of all of these, just because I think they're so pretty and way underappreciated. So this is a fairy coloring book, which I think is so sweet. Again, look at this, so fun. I'm actually not into fairies that much, but these are super sweet. It goes a bit through the seasons, so you saw some Christmas one. This looks a bit like summer. And I think this is my favorite illustrations, is the fairies for Halloween. I mean, look at that, isn't that, you know, fairy ghost, fairy in a kitty costume, fairy in a skeleton costume, fairy in a pirate costume, fairy in a witch costume. It's just hilariously fun. And paper is really good. And this one is also so sweet, like the fairy just, you know, who got into the bird's nest, and the mama bird is really angry, and then she, you know, kicks her out. Really sweet. I really love her. The style, it's just also so fun, you know, so happy. Oh, with the little mice. The fairy coloring book. This is the ballet coloring book. And I wasn't going to get that because I'm not into ballet. I mean, I did ballet dancing as a child, but I'm not into it as a sport. But what is interesting about it is not about, you know, ballet as an exercise, but it is about the different ballets. Like this is Cinderella. And that I really like because I used to go a lot to the ballet to watch it. This is Snow White, and this is then just the ballet dancer in the scene, which I think is so interesting. There's also some random ballet scenes, so if you're into that. This is Romeo and Juliet. The Firebird. Isn't this pretty? Swan Lake, obviously. The Nutcracker. Giselle. Coppelia. Cinderella. Cinderella again. The Nutcracker. Oh, pretty dresses. Swan Lake again. Sleeping Beauty. And I think that's just a unique idea to have like ballet scenes depicted like that. I think it's super pretty. And then I got the Fashion Through Time. I think those 4 books, the Fashion, the Ballet, the Fairies and the Princess book, are all her coloring books that have no colored in pages. She has a couple more, I think 2 or 3, that have colored in parts, which is why I didn't get them. Alright, let's start at the front here. Well, as it says, it's the Fashion Through Time, so you get, and it even says here, this book shows historical costumes and accessories. Some time periods are given special names, such as the Renaissance in Italy. You will see some of these names in the book. So it shows the time period, or it indicates the time period that is pictured. So this is ancient Egypt, Greece, and then just goes through the time. Rome. We're making a big jump here to medieval times in France, Poland and England, Renaissance in Italy, France, China, France again, lots of France and Italy in the Renaissance, Poland, Europe, France in the 17th century, just as North America, '18th century France. And as you know, I just love those themed books. Europe in the 19th century, Japan in the 19th century, Lapland, Germany, Scandinavia, Holland, Scotland, Switzerland, Italy. Just goes through all the countries, Mexico and Spain, North America, China and Japan again, India, Turkey, England and North America, and now we're getting into more modern times. Europe in the 1900s, Chicago in the 1920s, the 50s, and the 60s in Britain. So I really, really like this book too. As I said, I really like her style. So these are all by Anne Kronheimer: The Fashion Through Time, the Ballet Coloring Book, the Fairy Coloring Book, and I've shown you before the Princess Coloring Book, which in the English edition looks like these. I just have the German one because I think it's super pretty. Yeah, that was my first stack. It's super, super hot here. I'm going to have to take a break. I'll be back in the next video. Thank you for watching, and until then, bye!